All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I have GenieDot with me.
It's
And for
good.
those of you who don't remember, we did an episode called How to Attain the Power of a God, in which we talked about some very cool stuff. Just to update you guys, just what we talked about the sea of awareness, sea of consciousness, those kind of topics, the space of nothingness. We talked about a whole lot of stuff on there that you guys should go check out because I think it would lay a good foundational understanding of what we'll even talk about today. So, with that being said, astral projection, because I think that's a very interesting topic. So that ties
Mhm.
into the sea of awareness, for example, because we talked about being in this pure aware state, uh, just pure emptiness and things like that. And spirit, has this kind of empty, subtle quality to it. So when we talk about operating on the astral plane, you get this very deep felt sense of this kind of stuff, and you can kind of move freely within different realms and dimensions. So, what are your thoughts on astral projection? And what comes to your mind when I mention that?
All right. So astral projection is a loaded topic, and I've come to understand way more about it since the last time we've talked. So, first things first, astral projection is lit. If you're drawn to try it, I'd recommend it. And the way that I would describe it is that so people see it as like you leave your body, which you can't see it as that. But if you just see it as shifting your awareness to the astral plane, that makes it way easier because oftentimes, like, you'll want to astral project to like maybe go to a certain planet or to like go to like time travel in the past. If you want to do that type of stuff, why would you go through the whole process of, oh, I come out my body, then I fly outer space, then I get to the planet? Why don't you just project yourself to the planet? You see what I'm saying? Like the only real effective reason that you would like actually see yourself coming out of your body is to be closer to this realm. So like when you actually see yourself come out your body, that's mainly because like there's etheric essence attached to that body. Just think about it as if you were to close your eyes and then like imagine your hand moving and actually like feel it really moving, that's your etheric body. That's what etheric matter feels like. So that matter is close to the physical realm opposed to astral matter. Astral matter allows you to actually see things. So like when you like imagine yourself punching, right? The feeling aspect, that's etheric. But you actually seeing the hand, that's the astral. Because you could punch and then feel and not see it. You could also see the punch but not feel it. So with that being said, when you project by actually see yourself come out of your body, you're closer to this physical realm, which means that if you want to talk to like a friend who's like awake right now, and you want them to actually kind of feel you, that's like the only reason why. And then even then, you'll oftentimes do that and still project to an overlay. You won't even fully be inside the physical realm anyway. So it's like, long story short, astral projection is the process of projecting your consciousness into the astral plane. And if you see it like that, all you have to do is to think about, oh, I want to go to Sirius. Then you just feel Sirius, a lot to the vibration, that you actually eventually go there.
That's so ethereal is more of like a feeling aspect, and then yeah, astral projection is more like you're seeing, you're actually there. It's like a
Yep.
tangible substance. So with the ethereal part, like in feeling base, is that a foundation that you need in order to astral project, or is it you can just astral project without even having to develop an ethereal or having being in touch with more the ethereal plane, more of the physical realm of things.
Yeah, so yes and no. You could still astral project, but the etheric body will help you actually remember it more. Because people astral project like
Yeah, that's
they
that's good.
yeah. Yeah, they astral project day there every single night. But the problem is that oftentimes what you experience inside the astral, your brain has no concept for that. So you try to bring that back, and your brain's like, bro, what is this freaking fourth dimensional light being that you talked to last night? They're like, what? Your brain can interpret that. Now, your etheric body is the bridge that actually helps you to get astral memory back into your physical body. So that's why, like, you'll have dreams sometimes, right? Where it's like you could have been talking to like a spirit guide, but you perceive it as a teacher because you can't perceive its true form with your physical brain. But the more etheric substance you have, and the more your etheric body is developed, it's actually easier to interpret these things because your body can actually hold more light. You know how like the black inside space, right, is black, and you can see that black absorbs all light. Your etheric body is essentially black. Now the astral is like light, so the light comes into this black etheric body, and and then it converts the light into information, which gets imposed upon your brain. And you're like, oh, I have an experience. So if you want to actually like remember your experiences, and then also if you want to actually feel inside the astral, because you could choose to feel things and interact with them like that, but then also just like walk through them. So you would only really want to feel things in regards to like maybe like fighting a being. You actually want to like have the light truly hit them and not just go through them. So things like that. We want to actually feel inside the etheric and actually want to remember things, develop the etheric body. And that's actually really important too, because like even if you don't always know, like if you even if you can't see what you did last night, you'll be able to feel it. Like sometimes, bro, I'll just wake up and I'm like, oh, I was at Pleiades because it feels like it. Plus, I noticed new Pleiadian shit. I forgot what I saw there, but I could definitely feel it. So, yeah, you're gonna need that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were to break it down maybe on, so we astral plane and then we have ethereal plane. And then if we were to talk about like, would the ethereal plane be more like you being in touch with your emotions versus astral's like mental, like, for example, imagination, would include, like, if I'm existing on the astral plane, right? Like, would I be operating based off the imagination or the intellect, or like would I be operating based off of my feeling, or is it like combination of everything else? And also, if I were to operate more on an ethereal base, what kind of centers, or what I'd be using more of?
All right, so I call the etheric realm the realm of feeling and sensation because etheric matter allows you to actually feel things. Then I call the astral the realm of imagery because you actually see things with the astral. Now, when it comes to like thinking and stuff like that, that's the mental realm. So see it like this, right? A rock only exists its consciousness only exists on the physical realm. Like you could see a rock inside the astral, but the rock is not going to be like, "Oh, I'm inside the astral." It can't see or feel. It just exists. You know what I'm saying? Now a plant is different because a plant can actually sense sunlight because it has up to a 2D awareness. It's aware of the etheric realm, so it can actually feel sensation, but it still can't see the sunlight. Then you have animals and humans. Then you have animals and humans. We can actually see things. I'm like, oh, I could see this keyboard. A plant cannot see this keyboard. You know, so, with that being said, the difference though between an animal and a human is that humans are aware of their thoughts. So now I could say, I'm Genie. The lion cannot say I'm a lion because it's not aware on that level. So, the astral is the realm of imagery. It allows you to perceive imagery in form. It doesn't have to be physical form. It's like a ghost. A ghost, you could see a ghost, but you can't actually like grab it. You're gonna move through it. So that is the realm that gives us imagery. Now, when it comes to these realms, though, so you have realms and sub realms. Like you have the astral realm, then you have astral sub realms. These different sub realms come from the fact that every single realm, like the material, aka the physical, then you have the etheric, then the astral, then the mental. All these different realms have different matter that allows you to do different things. Material matter makes things physical. Etheric matter gives sensation. Astral matter gives things form. So, with that being said, all these different kinds of matter will interpenetrate inside the different planes. So, inside the astral, right, you could be inside the astral but experience physical matter. And if you were to be like a astral being that only experienced the physical, then you would simply just exist on the astral. You could also be an astral being that could only like feel things. So you would be on the astral etheric. You know what I'm saying? So, long story short, though, astral matter is what gives things form and imagery, and then etheric matter gives things feeling and sensation.
So, okay, so when we're operating on a higher level, you could say, like, if I'm going to live consciously, right, in my everyday life, I would include all these aspects within each moment, right? So I'd have a feeling, a sensation of my experience, and I can, in a sense, then also get the correct imagery of and the forms of things around me. Whereas, like, what would be an example of this? Like maybe, like, if I'm walking around, I can sense and feel that this place has a bad vibe, and then I can start to see the imagery of like maybe dark shadows, or maybe I start to see the spirits around in this place. So this would kind of be to have an integrated and whole perspective. This is how things would kind of look like.
Yes, definitely. Yup. You'll walk into a room, you be like, damn, it feels bad. Then you see the spirits. They could also now the mental is being able to actually contemplate them. Like sometimes you may see a spirit, like, what the fuck is that? But you're actually like, okay, this is this kind of spirit that came from this place, all that other shit. That's the mental realm. So yeah, it's definitely a integral experience. You should want to hit all these realms. As humans, we actually ascend through the 12 realms. At a base, we are up to the third, so we could perceive form, but humans are just now becoming aware of their own thoughts. That's why, like, if you're gonna be woke, quote unquote woke, but not spiritual, you go to psychology, because like that's like the big thing besides spirituality. Like spirituality is getting bigger, but it's not as big as psychology. You can't go to college for becoming a fucking spiritual guru. You could go for psychology though. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole entire point. But yeah, that's how it would be. You would feel energy, then see the energy, then understand the energy. Then you get to a point, you get to create the energy and stuff like that. Yeah, it gets lit.
Yeah, shoot. I mean, I want to go return back to before we talk about that. I mean, to talk about astral projection and the way you described it was actually very, very interesting. So you're kind of already there in a sense, but what is that part of you that can pull yourself out of into, or like if you're going to project into like another dimension or into another place mentally, right? What is
Mhm.
that part of you that you use that's the center of all that, the centerpiece of all that? If
Yeah, so when you come out of your body, right, that could be seen as projecting your astral body outside of your physical body, right? Now, with that being said, whenever we do that, right, we are projecting the body, the astral body, and the astral consciousness into a certain realm. So if we're like leaving the body, we're projecting the consciousness that we're projecting the astral consciousness and the astral body into the physical realm, you know? Now, it's still always the astral body. It's just that, like, why would you always seriously come out your body? Like, because, like, essentially, when you come out your body and you're like, oh, come out and go to the physical realm, like, you're coming out, entering the physical realm just to go to the astral in some different timeline or in some different planet or like any different dimensional place. So it's always the astral body that's doing that projecting for the most part, but it's not really necessary if you just are like, oh, I'm gonna just perceive Pleiades real quick and then project my body there, you know, because it's still technically leaving your body in a way, but you don't go through the whole I see myself float out, then I look back on my bed, then I see myself on the bed, then I go up to the stars. You just project your body straight to the stars.
well, with that low, so it's the astral consciousness that is like the answer to the question, right? Like you have
Yeah,
astral consciousness, astral body, and you
yep,
return to the astral level of consciousness.
yep.
Okay,
So
and
yeah,
then is there a level above astral consciousness, or is it just
yeah. After the astral is the mental, then after the mental is the causal, then the buddhic, then the atmic, then the monadic, then the logic. They could call it the brahmic, or then the vishnic, then the shavic, and then that's pretty much it.
okay? And then how do you need a certain amount of energy to actually have a projection, or is it kind of just automatic, or like what do you think? How can people? Because normal people, I mean,
Uh,
I would say an average amount of people don't really know how to astral project, or at least can um recall
do
astral
it consciously.
projecting, like
Mm.
do it consciously. That too, that's another thing. So do you need energy to do it, to do it and also to remember it, or is it just you're good as
Yeah,
you are kind of thing?
yeah. So and you definitely need it for memory for effect because if you so the energy aspect is the whole like etheric body part, and when you don't have that energy you can't download the memories, so you definitely need it for the remembering part. Now as far as actually getting into the astral realm, yes and no, because like to form an astral body in and of itself, yeah, you need energy. Now to just be like a you could also be like a point of consciousness. They call this remote viewing, they could say, where like you're just there, like you'll see the room, but you have no body. That doesn't really take energy to do because your consciousness doesn't really require energy. That's how you kind of become immortal by first seeing, oh, my consciousness never dies. Then you actually form the immortal body. Then you merge this body with the immortal body. That's a whole different topic. Long story short, yeah, you do need energy for remembering it and to also form an astral body. But you could like people have gotten sick and been super low energy and still astral projected. So it's possible to do it. It's just hard to remember it. It's a form of the body.
So like how do you develop your astral body? Because that's an interesting topic too. Like how do you, what is it like to start to perform it, or like do you start to, is there certain side effects? Like if I start to develop my astral body right now? Like, do I start to feel something or experience something different than my experience currently?
Yeah, so if you want to develop your astral body, all you need is your imagination. Like if you like, I could imagine myself behind myself right now with like hands and my feet and stuff. Now, when I only imagine it without the feeling, it's like it's less real. I'm less in it. When I actually feel it now, like since I've been doing this for so long, it's like literally, bro, the more I put myself inside the image of myself being behind myself, it gets more and more real. And this is how people literally just be like, oh, they'll just imagine themselves at a certain place. They'd literally be there in 2.5 because they got so good at this. They got so good at this part. But yeah, to form the astral body, all you really need is imagination. However, you're gonna want the etheric body also, and that's where the whole feeling aspect, because you actually have to try to like one thing I do is like I'll sit down and I'll just like see myself doing this, but not actually do it. Like I'll see it, then I'll just feel it, then I'll see and feel it. That stuff helps to develop your astral etheric body. And as you do that, right, with the astral body, like if you're constantly always focused on like seeing that image of a body and stuff like that, you start perceiving that realm of imagery. And then, like, if a certain person comes around you, you may just close their eyes and then open up your imagination, and then you fucking see like you may see like dark around them because they have dark energy or something like that, you know. So, and with the etheric part, you'll feel stuff more. Like if you practice the whole like I imagine my head doing this on the feeling level, when certain stuff comes around you, you'll just be more sensitive to it. So yeah, you form the bodies by feeling a body form with the etheric body and then seeing a body form with the astral body. And those will help you build those senses also.
Why do you think people would give up easily on like maybe doing that? Because I think that sometimes people, when they start to form or use their imagination like that, they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's not really going anywhere. There's no point," or they'll just like not really see it as important or anything. But like, what are your thoughts on like maybe people stopping using their imagination? Because I think it's also maybe a societal thing too, right? Where you just stop using your imagination, you kind of just give into the matrix or whatever. But why do you think people will stop kind of this process of developing the imagination, the astral body? What are some blockages with that?
One, they don't think that it's real. They're like, oh, I'm just making this up, which you can make up imagery, but understand you can also receive imagery. So when I want to go to a certain place, I'm not making up what it looks like. No, I just say I want to go here, then I let the image form. Now, people are actually low key good at that, but they just don't see it as real. Like, oh, it's making it up. So that's one of the biggest things. They think that it's not real. And then two, also like as far as not developing themselves astrally, it's oftentimes because like they don't get results in 2.5. They want instant gratification, which I'm actually developing a method right now. When I teach it, one of the big things is the fact that if you practice certain methods throughout the whole entire day, you'll just become aware at nighttime. So it's like people don't want to always sit down for 3 hours and then make their body go to sleep and then come out their body. So I'm like, I can understand that. So how about you do stuff throughout the day and then you leave at nighttime? And then, yeah, because that's one thing with me. Like, I wouldn't practice all the time. I'm like, bro, I could practice, but I ain't trying to fucking sit down for 3 hours and stuff like that. But then when I peeped, you know what? I go to the Astro every single night. I would just get better at falling asleep in a conscious way and have my bodies built and stuff like that. When I thought like that, it made me want to practice more because I'm like, holy shit, this is way more achievable. So I say the two things are not thinking that it's real, and then also not wanting to like put in the time and the effort. Like it takes too long for people to get results.
Like, do you think that people or like has there been a moment when you've like trained someone in this and like they've gotten results like right away? Has there been a moment when like you've seen people like they're shocked at these kind of things happening?
Bro, there's been times where I've been shocked, bro. So bro, I have different methods, like not necessarily different astral projection methods, but different things you can do different things that you can do in order to develop different parts of your body, right? So one thing I have is like for memory, right? I'm like, oh, we go to sleep at nighttime, you wake up, just try to feel into what you did, right? And I explained it a bit more in depth, but like I essentially told somebody that, and bro, ever since they wake up like, yo, I had this dream. I had this dream, and then they'll be like going throughout the day and stuff like that. Like, oh, I was just feeling into what I did last night. And I remember this. And I'm like, damn. And sometimes it'll be like it's not always just like dreams in the sense of like, oh, I made up an experience. Like this should be astral shit. Like they be going on whole missions, bro. One time we was actually together. Like I remember I saw myself with them, talking to them, hugging them. I told them, they said, "Oh my god, I remember that too." Ah. So like with her, like I gave her the quick method on how to just remember your experiences, and literally the next day she remembered her shit like that. Like she gave me like 3 different experiences, and then ever since that day, it's just been new experience. Like one time was fucking go. this girl snuck. This girl snuck into an alternate reality. Then they caught her. She had to fucking run away and find the portal and get back and shit like that. She's had stuff like that. One time it was some kidnapping shit, but that links with some past life shit because back in the past she got kidnapped without knew her and stuff like that. That's the whole fucking thing. But long story short, yes, I have. There's been many people I've talked to where I just give them a simple tip. Like another tip was the whole just to set the intent on where you want to go, then you'll go there. People have got results on that pretty quick as well. So yeah, it surprised me, bro.
Is there like, so I saw this video randomly on social media, but apparently somebody was like able to go to Antarctica, astral project over there, and then they were to get information and stuff. And I was curious about that because it's like people say there's a lot of stuff there in Antarctica, but she apparently was getting caught by these people because she trained herself to remote project, and apparently people from the CIA that she said also knew how to astral project, and they found her there, and then they try to, I think that's how it went. And then she, obviously, I forgot what happened after that, but she went there. People from the CIA also knew how to astral project, try to stop her from getting information there. Has there been anything like that has happened to you, or maybe, or what are your thoughts on maybe that story right there?
Stuff like never happened to me in that way. The closest thing is that I've tried to go somewhere, but I just haven't been allowed. Like I don't have access type shit, which is really weird because I actually have access to a lot of places that I found out because of past life shit. But some shit is like I try to go to like, no, you can't go. Sometimes it's just like you can't go right now. Other times it's just like, no, you're not gonna go. But I never like actually like got to a place and then they see me and they're like, oh, this person's astral thing. But that stuff does happen. Like they're like I know they're all bars. Like you could go to bars sometimes, depending on like which layer of reality that you're actually in. And if you go there aside like purely astral shit, they will sometimes actually have bases on bars. They can actually, where they can actually see you. Like they'll be like, oh, this person's astral projecting. They have like they'll have like technology that can also perceive astral people pretty much. So yeah, that stuff like that does happen. Never to me though.
First off, like you mentioned, let's see, what was the word? Having access to different places. So like, how do you have access to some places, and how do you not have access to other places? Wouldn't it be kind of like a free for all? Like maybe you can go anywhere you want, or what is access?
All right, so I'll give a few examples. Like let's say there's a planet that's newly developing and stuff like that, and they can't have outside influence. You can't go there unless they give you access. Like you'll try to go there and like maybe like you just can't get there, or you'll appear there. They're like, no, you can't come through. Like you have to respect certain laws in certain planets and different planes and stuff like that. So there actually are some places that you can't go. Like there's some galaxies, right? Like antennae, for example. That galaxy is actually still developing. Now, I actually have past life history with that galaxy, and I actually help it develop right now. Like I literally time travel inside that. The reason I time travel is because like I have to go there in the present, then help it form, then go to the future to see how it looks from there. But with that galaxy, not everybody could go there because like let's say they go there and they mess up how it develops and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why you'll have access to certain places. That's why you'll have access to certain places and then not have it to other places because sometimes it's just like, oh, you can't mess up the evolution, or you can't see what's over here for some reason, or it'll be stuff like that. The other times it's just like people like the CIA, they'll block shit off because they're blocking shit off, not because the universe is doing it to you. But yeah.
So like with okay, so there's access, and then like with the whole CIA thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
is there actually technology out there that can, do you think there's technology out there that can sense when people are, you could say, spiritually evolving, or spiritually like higher up, and like it gives off like a certain radar detection, like, oh, this person has a, is it like an energy level detection thing that you think governments have or anything? This is just a random question, but
Heck yeah. So I mean, aside from that, they do have like aura devices. Like this shit will dead ass see your aura, and you could tell a lot about a person off of that. But no, they definitely have shit where it's like, oh, the vibration over here is this high, and then over there it's that low, and like, yeah, they definitely have that shit. Yeah.
you seen that with the fires? This is another thing that came to my mind, like the fires in Hawaii with the laser beams and stuff. Did you
Then
see that?
I haven't. What's that about? Yo, actually, I did see. Yo,
So
hold up. I saw a video apparently of Biden admitting to doing the fires on purpose. I guess I was talking about that.
yeah, it's because in Hawaii there's like the whole island burned down and stuff, and I forgot what they said the cause was, but they said it was some cause, and then a lot of people were saying no, that doesn't make any sense, and then a lot of people are starting to theorize there's probably some laser beams, like, burned the place down or something that the government had. But and I think I saw a video recently too where there's like a laser beam just out of the sky, out of nowhere, just struck down, but some weird stuff going on. But
No, I bet it was from the government because yeah, I definitely saw a video and Biden said that he did that shit on purpose. So I mean, it could be a deep fake or whatever the fuck they called it, the whole little AI
oh yeah, the
shit.
whole mask, yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
it could be
that
that,
too.
but hey.
Yeah. So one thing, especially when I've astral projected, or some experiences that I've had, is that the you could say the you talked about the sea of awareness in the first episode, but
Mhm,
this sea would be very apparent to me. Like right now, for example, it exists more on a feeling basis. So I
mhm,
can feel this crystalline, like, I guess that's the best way to describe it. Maybe crystalline, or like it's almost like a river river kind of thing. I
mhm,
would say like a strong river that's like surging. But yeah, I can feel it on a sense basis. But when I go into these astral, realms and things like that, sometimes it's very clear that it's there. Like I can
mhm,
see it tangibly, that there's this invisible substance that is governing everything.
mhm.
So what are your thoughts? I mean, is this how the astral works, where it's kind of like a crystal like structure, and it's made up of these, like, I don't know, like some kind of crystal like structure that is very dense in energy? Or is it, how would you describe maybe the material that the astral is made of? Or is it, yeah.
I would say that so I always say astral matter because that's the best time I have for it. And the way that it's structured is that you will have form, but it's not physical material form, which is why like inside the astral, it's like way more like subtle and light. Like you could see like a whole astral city, but it's like subtle and it's light. And then also big inside the astral plane, you can actually like it's like you could perceive the ether of space way more. And the ether of space is simply just like when you look out inside space and it's black, that's ether. And right now it's all around us, but there's light filling the space, so it just you can't see the black right now. But all that is ether. And it's like you're seeing the ether how big it's hard to fit. So imagine like you're like down here, right? And then you look up at the etheric, like, oh yeah, there's like some ether. So I could feel that. We get to the astral, you're all the way up here. So now you're looking down at the ether. It's like, oh yeah, I could definitely see that substance that permeates everything kind of a thing. So it's like inside the astral, it's just heavily like light based. Like everything's made out of light, I would say. And ether is like a condensed form of light. Like the shit inside space is condensed light. Hence why it's black, because black absorbs all light. Therefore, it's condensed light. So inside the astral, everything's made out of light. And you clearly like perceive like the ether that like flows through everything because you're like a plane above it. And then the etheric plane is, of course, formed of ether and also like plasma and shit like that. And then the material realm is pure material, physical matter and stuff like that. So yeah, the astral's like made of light essentially.
Yeah. So if we were to operate on the astral level, right? Maybe if I were to, like, for example, use, because manifesting is a popular topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe you can tie into, this whole astral thing, that whole astral plane and things like that. You can tie manifesting into the astral plane, where like I can perceive, or imagine, and create a world up
Mm-hmm.
there, and then try to bring it down into the ether. But
Mm-hmm.
what are your how do you So if it's a very slow substance, right, and it's a very condensed form, how do you bring down your manifestations into the ether? I mean, we kind of talked about how feeling and things like that helps out, but like, what would be your takes on manifesting and bringing things from the astral realm into the more of the the ether and things like that?
I bet. So to bridge, let's do mental, astral, and ether. So first you need the idea for something, right? Now, once you got that idea, now you do gotta form that imagery. You know what I'm saying? Now, once you like can actually like see your manifestation and stuff like that, you need to actually experience it through feeling. Like one, like feel yourself moving through it, but then also feel what it's like to have that manifestation. And then where everybody messes up at is taking the action. Because here's the thing, right? When you think about something, right? And then you literally see the image for it. Like you're not even always creating. You're oftentimes just interpreting. You're oftentimes just interpreting a reality that's already there. So if you can literally see, like this reality is actually real, you could now see it and be like, damn, it feels like this. And because you feel those feelings, right? You'll act off of those feelings, and those feelings match that reality. So you literally do the actions that made you get that reality. When you think you're just making a manifestation inside of your mind, no, you're tuning into that reality. Now you gotta feel it and actually act upon what it wants you to do. Because when you feel the energy inside you, that's the ether, and that ether, that energy literally moves through you, and then you end up doing stuff and making that reality for yourself literally here. So yeah, you need to, simple terms, think it, see it, feel it, act it.
Yeah, this is just a random thing, but like I remember you talking about your spiritual side in a video
Mm-hmm.
and it opening up. And me personally, I can definitely sense and perceive that yours is very open, like it's very in front of like your headspace like that, like wide open. So I mean, talk to me like how did you develop that? Like how did it become so open like that? Because I don't really see I don't see that in people a lot. Yours is like it seems like you can close it too. Like I don't like right now, like I don't see that it's open, but like when it opens, I can tell.
So you mean as far as like my spiritual abilities and stuff like that? Like how do I
Yeah,
grow
I
that?
mean,
Like
it's
my
specifically yeah,
all
your
right, bet.
spiritual side, yeah, like seeing different because you talked about it in a context
Mhm,
of like you being able to see spirits. Like if you want to see something, you
mhm.
just open up your sight like that, and then you could see stuff around you.
All right, so there's a couple of things I've done. Um, One was just being open to imagery at all times. Like just letting anything, like if I'm somewhere and I feel a bad vibe, I'm gonna be like, bro, what does this bad vibe look like? Because even if you don't see a spirit, you'll see how your mind interprets energy. That's a big part of things because at first, your clairvoyance will likely be a bit more metaphorical, which is still good because you'll get accurate information, you know? So, like, if I'm talking to somebody and I see that it's raining and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, you're sad, clearly, you know? Now, at some point, it gets stronger. It's like your brain, like what happens that your brain learns how to interpret energy better. So at first it's like you feel sad, like you'll feel the person's sadness, and then your brain is like, okay, we associate sad with clouds, let's make this whole entire cloud shit, right? Then you'll see the clouds. But at some points, like you'll get more sensitive. You're like, oh, like you're like, okay, I could feel what breakup feels like. I could feel what a Spanish person looks like. And then now you talk to this person, and then you see a breakup happen with a Spanish person because like you could feel those energies now, and it actually turned them into imagery. So that's what this big open to images. I started doing that, and then also I would actually trade. Like I would have these cards right here, right, and like so I'll like have the card now, like put it like this, where like I can't see what's on the card. Then I'm like, okay, like what am I getting from this? Like I'll feel shit, I'll see shit, and I'll be like, what is this? I'm like, okay. And doing that helped me to understand how I interpret energy. Because it was one time it was a card that had like a cat and a fish on it. And then like literally I was looking at the card, I just heard in my head, cat, fish. I'm like, okay. And I didn't feel anything else. Look over, I see a cat and a fish. Now sometimes it'll be like the cards about love, right? And then I'll see a whole bunch of water going like this. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Then I see, oh, that's some love shit. So that method low-key kind of annoys me sometimes because like just being purely open to what's on this card can be hard sometimes because your brain is like, oh, how do I interpret that? How do I interpret this? So the other thing I do is that I'll take three cards, right? I'm like, okay, this is, let's say it's like, oh, this is the apple card, that's the orange card, this is the pair card, right? Then I'll lay those cards out and I'll mix them up. Then I'll be like, okay, let me try to find the apple card because now I know what I'm looking for. So it's like it gets really easy from there. I just look at a card, then I'll see certain shit or feel certain shit that is like, yeah. So as far as the vision, it was always about opening up, like letting my mind just be open to imagery. Literally just using your imagination, but not making shit, just being open with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was the vision part, but also a bit of me was like feeling, like learning how to feel energy. So like wherever I go, wherever I go, and whenever I go somewhere, I always just try to feel what's around me, and then like the feeling helps to make the image. It's like let's say there's an invisible person in front of you, right? You can't see them, right? If you splash paint on them, the paint will make an outline of them. So it's like with the feelings, right? The feelings make the outline of the image. So like as you could feel shit, at least for me, I could also make that feeling turn into imagery. So that's been a big thing also, learning how to feel energy and being open to my feelings and understand what those feelings actually mean, but then also being open to imagery, understand what that imagery actually means as well.
Yeah, you call it like building an energetic database, right? Like having this
Yep.
whole database of different impressions and things like that. And then maybe you can use the word impressions, like learning how to sense impressions and interpreting them like that. That could
Hmm.
be like another way to put it.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
say learn how to feel energy and sense energy and feel these impressions. Yeah, like you could just practice hearing them, seeing them, feeling them. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, just do that for a long period of time. You will get better. That's like because people be like, "Oh, I don't want to do that because it's gonna take long." But that's like saying like, "Oh, I want to go to the gym and lift 100 pounds my first day." You're not gonna crowd 100 pounds, bro. That's not happening, bro. Work your way up, type stuff. You'll get, you know what I'm saying? You got to train that.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I did want to bring up though, sorry, on astral projection, going backwards is
Now you good.
I remember what?
I said, nah, it's all good.
Oh, okay, yeah. So one thing I wanted to go back to in astral projection was I remember one of my friends had an interesting dream where it was actually a very dark dream where like he dreamed of himself going out of body, and then all of a sudden he started getting possessed by these dark spirits, and then a voice told him like, um, in order to astral project or something, you need to get possessed and leave to in order to leave your body. So then a voice told him that. So I want to get your take on maybe like maybe fear around the astral realm or maybe experiences where can you get possessed when you leave your body? Because this is definitely a fear that people have, or maybe things like that. Like, what's your take on that?
I'll tell you this: you can't get possessed in the astral unless you let somebody do it. Hence, why they told your friend you gotta let yourself get possessed because now you give the access to it. If that's so true, why couldn't they just hop inside your body right there and then? Because they need to you need to give them access. So that's what they you could get possessed only if you're like, oh, come inside my body. And then, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now, the more common thing with possession, right, is that oftentimes when a person's like quote unquote possessed, it's really just like you have a spirit that's talking to you and you think that it's you. It's like having a devil on your shoulder. Hey, do that dumb
Yeah,
shit. They do the dumb shit. You think that is you. You know what I'm saying? But you could always like take back control. So what you cannot get possessed inside the astral unless you let it happen. And as far as like being scared of the astral, there's if you're scared of the astral, just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Build up your understanding and your own power because you get to a point where it's like, why would I be scared of the astral if I'm literally God? Now, I know that makes like some cocky shit, but your soul, right, is an individual point of awareness that comes from the greater awareness, aka source. So you tapping into your soul is tapping into a small piece of God. You have God inside you. Why would you be scared if you have God inside you? If God came down right now, would he be scared of a demon? No, he wouldn't. So you should be the same exact way. Now, if you're not like that, that's cool. Don't do it yet. You know what I'm saying? If you have fear, don't do it because you having fear to astral project will make you attract those things to you. Either you'll make certain thought forms that you'll be attacking yourself, or beings will smell that they come around and try to scare you with all this other shit. So if you're scared, don't do it, but definitely start learning more about what you actually are as a soul and the power of literally being a soul because there's really nothing to worry about at some point. It's kind of like being scared of the astral is kind of like being scared of the world because inside this world, you could go to good places, bad places, the hood. You know what I'm saying? You could go anywhere, you know? So it's the same with the astral, literally, bro.
yeah, and even after that. So I mean, we talked about it. and then I tuned in and I sensed his dream. I kind of like put myself in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. Like I kind of saw myself in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought light into it. And then when I did that, I sensed and perceived that it was just a spirit trying to scare him from doing these kind of experiences, because he can actually be a very gifted and talented person with the astral realm and projecting out a body and things like that. But yeah, these spirits are telling him that he's going to get possessed, and giving him these false images of like, him getting possessed and things like that, because that could definitely happen. You have something go into your dream and tell you that and try to act as a god or some kind of wise or
Mm-hmm.
divine voice. Has that happened to you?
I never had a being try to convince me because it wouldn't work. Like when I started doing this whole astral shit, I already knew how the game went. So I was like, okay, like the most that happened is that I have been grabbed up by a being, and the being said, "We're gonna open you up to like higher demons or something like that." Then I just said "Om," and then the nigga fucking froze. He just like, and I said "Om" again, and I just vibrated out the situation. And I went to a higher plane. So like, it was nothing to worry about with that guy.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you saw this in like were you consciously astral projecting, or were you was
So
it happening randomly?
So I was meditating, then I fell asleep while doing it, right? So when I fell asleep, I went to the astral. I think like I didn't know that like I wasn't aware in the sense of like I was physical before that I went astral, but I think my astral self knew what he was doing because when I became aware, I was like, holy shit. I was essentially like I was fighting a being, and then like I started running. And then, because when I became aware, I'm like, hold the fuck up. Oh shit, nigga, I'm fighting some shit. Let me dip. Like before I became aware, he was probably just fighting that shit, doing his shit, whatever the fuck, right? Because we do like, especially if you feel like a warrior, bro. Then most times when you go out at nighttime, you're probably fighting out there. So I be doing that shit. So I became aware, I'm like, hold the fuck up. Oh, nah, I got a dip. So I start running to my room. And I'm like, and then it comes into my it followed me up the stairs, came inside my room, and I had some type of gun. It's like an alien electrical gun thing. I don't really know, but like, yeah, I tried to shoot it, but the gun it jammed. It was I'm like, what the fuck? So then it just grabbed me and it said that bullshit. Then I said, oh man, I just dipped up out of there.
Shoot. What did it look like?
It looked like a fake scream. It looked so you know how like it would be like Scream, but like with perfectly circled eyes and a perfectly circled mouth. But everything else is the fucking same. Black
Yeah.
body, look like a white mask. Yeah, essentially it was that.
Cool. Yeah. There's two more things I want to cover. I, Going off of that though, is protection. So like, how do you? Because the frame that I'm thinking of this from is, especially from my own personal experience. So like, some weird stuff started happening in my household during like one season, where like my sister all of a sudden started becoming super sensitive to the things around, and I was
Hmm.
also starting to sense and perceive things around me that are very dark. So an example would be like my sister was like looking in the mirror once, and she saw like, I forgot how she described it exactly, but she said she saw like a white, ugly looking apparition staring at her in the mirror. So physically she can see an apparition, and
Hmm.
then she looks around and there's nothing there, or not
Hmm.
even an apparition. It looked real, like a monster. She looked behind and then it was gone.
Hmm.
I started to sense and feel and perceive shadow beings all around me, like a high density of dark shadow beings around me. And I started to get paranoid just out of nowhere. Like, started having all these feelings of paranoia and wanting to get out and leave just the house in general.
Hmm.
And so I could feel myself getting spiritually attacked, and the whole house was basically getting spiritually attacked, and these things are entering in.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm thinking about this from this framework where like, how could you develop protection over yourself? How could you develop protection over maybe you could say your household, or also for the people around you? Like, how can they stay protected from such attacks, or how can you even see them coming if you have that level of discernment, things like that?
All right, boom. Before I say everything I'm about to say, with these things, you need to know yourself and be truly rooted in who you are. First thing, prayer. That'll be an easy one. However, people oftentimes pray and have no power behind their prayer. That's why it doesn't work. So, like, if you're praying, like, "Oh, don't kill me," oh, they gonna kill you. Right? They're not kill you. They gonna do you bad though. You know what I'm saying? They will scare you. If you're like, yo, get away from here. I clear my power back. You don't belong here. If you say that with real power, your prayers actually do work. So that's one. Two. imagining light like all around you, but even then you need the power. If you just imagine some little weak puny like, oh zap, zap zap, it's not doing nothing. You gotta actually full force beam it. Like you know what I'm saying? So imagine the light all around yourself. Um Also establishing shields around your house with just imagination, then also with crystals too. So I recommend, like, if you want that heavy protection, I recommend both. You would like build the shield with your mind, right? Like I may see like a black shield, like just a black bubble all over my crib, right? And then I would get some crystals, like obsidian crystals. I'll put the crystals all over my house because the black the black I see inside my head of the whole circle, that's like an obsidian shield. Then I'll attach that shield to the crystals. And obsidian is very good for protection. So yeah, establishing shields around your house is really important. Like even me, like I don't like making shields for myself. Like I don't really go out inside the road with a shield, but there's always a shield around my house. I have a couple. I have should I say what okay, I'll say okay. I'll give some small stuff of what shields I have. I have one shield for dissolving energy, and then one for like adding high vibe energy. So one shield is like you hit that shit, you dissolve. Other one is like it's super high vibe shit that spreads inside of my house and then also projects out from my house. So like if you're a negative big and you feel the light shit, you're gonna want to run away, you know? So yeah, establishing shields around the house is really important. I would say prayer, shielding, using light, and then also like keeping high vibrations. Cause like when you're like super duper high vibe, these bass cannot even exist inside your frequency. But one thing they do is that like before, let's say you vibrate at, let's say the vibration that a demon can no longer take is like an 8, right? Once you get to 8, they can't take that shit. So they'll be like, oh, he's at 7.5. Let's scare him now. Let's scare her now and make her get lower in frequency. But it's like if they try to scare you and you're like, oh, okay, you just keep on going up in frequency, they'll be like, damn, I can't even they can't even get your energy. They can't even drain you and make you scared. But then two, they can't even exist around you anymore because it's like dying to them. So yeah, knowledge itself is important though. Understanding who you truly are and truly feeling that power. Once you got that shit, start using that prayer, start fucking doing all kinds of light work, start establishing shields. Yo, especially with light work, especially for you, my God, because you got some Pleiadian lives, bro, and that, light work is big with that. So yeah, start just little whoop, you go fuck them up. Yeah.
What do you mean by Palladium lives? Like you can see that?
Oh yeah, yeah. You have so I'll say your strongest are like Pleiadian and Andromedan. You also have like some Sirian back there, some Arcturian. Yeah, those are different stars that you've been to. I got really good at saying that type of stuff. So yeah, and I could kind of like
Damn. Yeah.
yeah, I could even like
I,
sometimes like open up even a bit more like what this person fully do there. And that's what like I do starseed readings. That's what that's about. Like I'll look into your alien past lives, what you did as an alien, all that other shit. Yeah. So like your Pleiadian shit is very heavy. Like Pleiadians are always very light based. So like yeah, you could just fuck shit up with light like crazy as hell.
I sense that. I definitely perceive that you know have that sense of knowledge, which is crazy.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, and then adding on to that though, so like when you talked about like the shields and stuff, I also think it's important because like when you create these shields, it then creates space inside of you. So once like you have these shields around you, then like you can start to fill yourself with light, or you can start to up your vibration and things like that. I think that's also very important. Or also, your shields,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, wouldn't last that long. So like if you create a shield, when you have a shield, I feel like you have a certain level of focus because like if you're protected, right, then you can have a certain amount of mental energy to put into something else, and you don't have to worry about what's going on the outside. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's also important too. Is like once you protect yourself, you then have like a certain spiritual practice, or you have a certain focus or discipline that you do in order to pull yourself up and to keep yourself away from different spirits, or if you want to be more practical, like you say, just falling into bad habits and things like that. But obviously,
Mm-hmm.
that this is the realm that people with common psychology will fall into, where they say, "Oh, make sure you just have develop good habits, get rid of this, get rid of that." But then it's like it can go even deeper, where it's like, well, you may have like a drunken spirit, right? Or maybe somebody in the house, somebody died here who was a drunkard, and now he's influencing you to drink alcohol and become a drunk person too. So you're around that
Mm-hmm.
vibration a lot, and then it could somewhat influence you. So that's where the spirituality stuff come in. But so I think I just want to add on to that.
Yeah, that's really important.
And
Yeah,
then
definitely.
yeah, so and then I would say the last thing would say, or just to cover, what other spiritual abilities would be important to develop other than like clairvoyance or like being able to see stuff? Is there any abilities that you would tell people that that they should develop?
Yeah, so I would definitely start off with probably like spiritual senses, right? So if you're already naturally like sensitive when it comes to feeling, try clear sentience out. If you just intuitively know shit, build your clear cognizance. All the clairs definitely do those. Then aside from that, I would say like learning to spiritually defend yourself. Like learning how to interpret energy with your spiritual senses and then also protecting yourself are like the two like most important things. And I'll say manifestation too, but not in the sense of like, oh, I want to manifest the house real quick, but like knowing how to actually create inside of your life is very important. Knowing how to actually do that whole fucking like I see the reality and everything that it comes with, and then how it actually feels and how to make that, you're gonna need that shit because at different points in your life, it's like you need to be like adaptable and know how to actually like create certain shit for yourself. You don't want to be a person who just gets used to a certain lifestyle. This shit changes up and you don't know how to create some new shit. So that's important. But don't be on some shit like, oh, I want to manifest a fucking new car. You could get a new car. Don't get no fucking Lambo for your first car and try to get no. You know what I'm saying? Because even when you try that shit, it's like the intent behind it matters. And here's what I mean. Like when you genuinely need some shit, you'll fight tooth and nail for that. And that's why magician
Yeah.
like people who are into witchcraft always say like don't do what honestly they don't all say this, but some will say don't do what you want, do what's necessary. Now they don't mean like for example, it someone could really need 10. This is an example from the book actually. You may really need 10 beers. Like you may think I need 10 beers. If you have that I need feel, you actually get that shit way more. You know what I'm saying? That, oh, I could possibly get 10 beers. They always say don't be attached to your manifestation. That is true. But here's what that means. It means like know how to really want something, but be okay with not getting it. And here's why they're saying that. If you really want something, right, you're gonna fight tooth and nail. And sometimes you'll try certain shit, it's not gonna work. Now, if you're too attached, it's like if you like, oh, I really need this thing, then when you don't get it and you can't like stay detached and not be okay without having it, then it's like you'll either start doing too much or you'll just give up. But it's like when you're like, okay, I could really want this, but not be tested actually having it. Now it's like you'll just do certain shit. If it don't work, that's cool. You'll wait a little bit, do it again. That's cool. You'll be like, oh, I gotta do and make it happen. And you also will be like, oh, I tried and then it didn't work. So F that. Nah, need the balance. Really want some shit full force, but be okay with not having it as well. It's a tricky balance, I know, but you'll get used to it because there's many times where I'm like, damn, I really want that shit, and I don't get it immediately, but I get it at some point. Like I have another monitor right here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't pay for that shit. I used magic for that shit because I really wanted that shit. You know what I'm saying? So literally one day my mom came after I did the whole entire spell. My mom came home one day and was like, "Hey, no, she came home with a monitor." And I'm like, "How you get that monitor?" She's like, "I went to your uncle's house, but it's not big enough for what I need." I'm like, "Can I have it?" She's like, "Yeah, you can have it." I'm like, "Yeah, magic." So knowing how to create is really important because and I felt like I really needed that because with my YouTube videos, right? Like I record, like I would like screen record my screen for a PowerPoint, right? So it's like I need two screens for that to have the actual like screen recorder software on one screen, and the PowerPoint on another one. So I really needed that shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, manifestation, I recommend that also. So developing all spiritual senses, whether it be clairvoyance or clairsentience, you need that. Also learning to protect yourself, and then learning how to create inside the physical world. Those are probably like three essentials. And the last thing about spiritual senses, you need that because spirit and your spirit guides are always trying to talk to you. If you don't know how to interpret them, you're going to miss out on so many messages. So yeah, build those spiritual senses: clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance. There's one more I'm missing. Oh, clairaudience too. I mean, there's more than that. You have ones for fucking tasting shit and smelling shit. But those are the four main ones: clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairvoyance.
And do you need isolation? Do you need a period of isolation to do this, or like
I
in order to
would
develop these things?
I'm gonna say yes. So some of these things are yes and no. So yes at first, because you do want to be inside your own energy and get sensitive to what is you and what is not me. Because that's a big thing with people also. Like you'll go out in the world, right? And you'll be all anxious and you think that is you, but it's the person that's in front of you. Like they're anxious, you're feeling their shit. So like most of us are actually really good at reading energy. We just don't peep like, oh, this is mine, this is theirs. So you should be alone at first and try to sense like what your old stuff feels like and get used to your old stuff. From there, it can actually be helpful to go inside the outside world only because now it's like, oh, you're with this person, you can feel their energy and get a sense of certain stuff like me, right? When I go to concerts, bro, this should be so fun because I'll go to a concert, I'm like, damn, we have bad aliens out here. There's a Syrian over there, got an Anunnaki over there. Like it'd be bad star seeds or people with alien past lives at these concerts, bro. And I noticed that, bro, Syrians, it's always a lot of fucking serious performing because back in Sirius, they actually had like real concerts back then. Like all that, like especially with like all that partying culture inside black culture comes from this called Anunnaki. Swear to God. All that hood shit and all that all anything in black culture, whether it be the hood shit or music or other stuff, even polygamy, all that is Anunnaki stuff. That's all alien shit. Like they would actually play music back in them stars. They would turn up back in them stars. They would do all that shit. That's why we have it now. But I just wanted to add that real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's facts. Shoot. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you though?
They could find me at GenieDot on YouTube, at GenieDot with the dot and an underscore on Instagram. And that'll be good for that. Like if you go to my YouTube, I have a link tree with all my links. So if you go to Asar, I mean not Asar, if you go to at GenieDot on
Yeah,
YouTube,
that's what it was before the first
yeah,
episode.
yeah, right. Yeah, I changed
I
a
was about
lot.
to say that too for the intro. I was like, oh my god, I was about to say I saw John.
Yeah, bro.
Gosh.
So yeah, go to at GenieDot, and then in the description, you'll see all my links there. So yeah, I do spiritual readings. I have a Patreon. There's a Discord. I'm doing a class coming up on Discord. So stay tuned for all that. Yeah.
Yeah, go check them out, guys. The real deal right here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. Because yeah, coming on here is always amazing. You always got great questions, bro. It's always great energy, bro. Your Pleiadian and Andromeda energy is so amazing because Pleiadian is just so like light based. Then the Andromeda is just so calm and chill. Oh my god, your shit's amazing, bro. I love your energy, bro.
Appreciate it.